Okay guys, welcome back, and in this video we are going to be learning about functions and pointers. And yes, you already learned about that, but we're going to do some more practice right here. And I don't know if y'all can notice, but I'm not using Bandicam anymore. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic, and I sound much better on this, so let's go. Okay. Int x is equal to 0. We are going to try to increase x by calling a function. And we're going to try to do that many ways. So here's the first function we're going to make. Void add. This is version 1 because we're going to make several versions of add. Int num. Let's copy that. So in main, we are going to call add v1 and send x over. And our function doesn't return anything, as you can see, because of the void. And in the function, we will say num++. And we will say printf the value of x after calling add v1 is let's run that. As you can see, the value of x is 0. It didn't change. And it's because whenever you call add v1, you are not sending this x right here. You're sending a copy of it. So let's see. Printf the value of num in add v1 is %d. The value of num in add v1 is 1. That's because num increases in here, but it doesn't affect the x in main, because add v1 only has a copy of what x in main is. Let's get rid of this print. So how would we make this function work correctly? Int add v2 int num. Let's make that down here. Int add v2. And then we will return num++. Or you could have said num equals num plus 1, return num. Same thing. So in main we will say x equals add v2 x. Printf the value of x after calling add v2 is that. Let's test it out. Oh no, what did I do wrong? It should be 1. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to teach y'all this, but okay. Lesson time. So what I should have actually done here was ++ num, and now it's gonna work. Yeah, okay. So, new lesson, I guess. I'll just type it up here. So, actually, I'll just stay down here. So, this right here is called postfix incrementation. And then this is called prefix incrementation. And what does that mean? Okay, now I need to type some stuff here. So, return num++. What does this do? First it returns num. Then it increases num by 1. Why is it doing that? 1. What's the difference between saying return ++ num? So, first it increases num by 1. then it returns num. So yeah, there's a difference depending on whether you put the plus plus before the variable or after. So in this case, you'd want to put them before, and that just kind of looks weird to me. So I'm going to comment that out, and I'm going to do the thing I did up there. Num equals num plus 1, return num. That's a good lesson right there. Okay, and this should work the same. Yeah, x is 1. Cool. Now let's try to change x in main by using a pointer. Woo! So void add v3 int pointer num. So to this function, we're not going to send an int, we're going to send an int pointer. So copy, paste. Okay. And notice that this function receives an int pointer. So how do we send an int pointer to a function? v3, you want to send the address of x. The address of x is a pointer to x. So, and x is an int pointer. And what we need to do here is say this. Remember that this function doesn't return anything, so we don't have to worry about the stuff that we were worrying about when we were making the add v2 function. So let me explain what this line right here does. So actually, let me write above. Num means the thing that num is pointing to. And num is pointing to x because we sent the address of x to this function when we said ampersand x. So now that we have x, let's add 1 to it by saying plus plus. And I'm not going to explain right now, but you need these parentheses because saying this, I get the feeling that it does something else. Like, just know that you have to put the parentheses. So let's see, rule of thumb, when dereferencing like this, you probably want to use parentheses. That's a good rule. Now let's run this and see what happens. Wait, actually nothing's going to happen. I didn't print anything. Print f, the value of x after calling add v3 is 2. It increased by 1. We looked at the thing that num was pointing to, which was x, and increased it by 1. Now let's make another function right here. Int add v4. And it will also receive an int pointer. And here we will return dereference num plus 1. Okay, so let's explain what we're doing here. There's a difference between this and this. So in this line, you are changing the value of what num is pointing to. Here, you are not changing the value of what num is pointing to. And you're like, why? Let's see. So what you do here is you get the value of what x is pointing to, and you add 1 to it. You are not, I know I already typed this above, but you are not changing the value of, of what num is pointing to. Very important. You are not changing the value of what this is pointing to. But you are returning that value plus 1. Add v4, address of x, but this function returns an int. So we want to say x equals whatever this function returns, then printf, the value of x after calling add v4 is three. Perfect, it increased it by 1. So yeah, these are 4 different ways of increasing the value of x by 1. And the one that makes the most sense is probably this one. That's my preferred one right there. This one didn't work, and pointers at this point are just kind of dumb. So remember add v2. That's the one you want to remember. Add v2.